Alright, Shalom Akim. It's the brother Ariaga. First of all, I'd like to give all praises and highest honors to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Makah Quadash. Alright, Shalom to all the brothers out there, and to the apostles of Great Millstone. And to those who may be listening, some brother from the Grand Rapids camp coming with this truth one more time, or again, I should say. Alright, I got an interesting little article. Just keeping up on current events. Something I really should have got to a couple days ago when I first saw it, but Spirit brought it around now, so let's knock it out. As you may be, if you hip to what's going on right now, you know that the UK is putting hell on Russia at this point in time because with the whole, we'll just go over it. The U.S. expels dozens of Russian diplomats in response to attack on ex-spy in Britain. Right, and I was looking at RT and made a lot of these cats over in America they already believe off rip, and the UK, oh man, but Russia did it, man. They had to have done it. I talked to a couple cats about it, and they totally sold somehow, some way, some stupid shit. And I'm looking at RT, and I brought up some like this, so I'm looking at RT, they made some good points, pretty much bringing up, that the spy, double agent, my man, they could have killed him a long time ago because they had him locked up in Russia for some years before they, let him out. And he came to the UK and they took him in. They sold a lot of secrets. If they really wanted to kill him that bad, they would have offed him a long time ago, which makes sense. And as well for the manufacturing of that, in particular, poison. They were saying that it was created in Ukraine or in Russia 30 years ago, the in particular poison itself. But they also made a good point. I don't remember the exact analogy. One of the things that they were saying was, it's kind of like if someone made a Smith & Wesson gun, and they kill a very important person somewhere in, say, Sweden. What are they going to do? Blame America, for that design? Or any other, American-made weapon, an M4. Someone shoot an old lady overseas with an M4, you're going to blame America for that? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't prove anything just because it was manufactured in America. So the United States on Monday announced the expulsion of 60 Russian diplomats and intelligence officers, as well as the closure of Russia's Seattle consulate in response to the poisoning of ex-Russian spy Sergei Skripal on British soil, allegedly orchestrated by the Kremlin. Allegedly. These steps, a senior administration official told reporters on condition of anonymity Monday morning, let the Russian government know when you attack our friends, you will face serious consequences. And, of course, it's led by that ugly-ass, piss-prone-faced devil, Theresa May. Yeah, that bitch, man, that's a demon. You can see the demons all over that wicked bitch. Alright, so this is all alleged, alright? Remind you, everybody, that's the big thing about the whole situation is they haven't brought any proof forward. All of these are alleged claims. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. At least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Right, so we already know, or those in the know can see that this is just another device that this devil has set forward, And it being one of his devices, we're not going to quickly be drawn astray by it because we already comprehend what's taking place. It's just a bunch of bullshit, That's all it is. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's a big game that's being played because this all plays down to um, the 1% drop in the population. That's why they have that bomb shelter set aside. Because every time the stock, like when the stock market crashed in the 30s, all these different wars and world wars that came about happened in a time where they were economically at a weakness. So to balance that out, what they would do was cause mass death. All right, and by causing that mass death, you had World War I and World War II established, which were coming into World War III, because death balances out the economy and the debt. Why? Because all those people that owe debts, once they go dead, it takes down the U.S. debt total. And that's at 21 trillion at this point in time, if I'm not mistaken. So they're doing anything they can to balance that out, bringing in this new world order, bringing in this digital currency, and regulating further off of that. It says, removing the Russians, the official said, also lessens the unacceptably numerous Russian intelligence officers who reside in the United States and spy on Americans. The Russian individuals and their families will have 7 days to leave the U.S. As we stressed in Moscow, the door to dialogue is open, the official told reporters on a call announcing the latest U.S. moves. But if Russia wants to improve relations, it first needs to acknowledge responsibility for this attack and cease its reckless behavior. All right, and they're going to definitely try to pin them with it. I mean, even if they don't have it, like everything else, they don't have any proof, and yet they push this allegation forward onto war. That's just like somebody coming up and accusing you of, say, something harsh, like someone like killing somebody or molesting a little boy or something. How you gonna feel? You gonna be like, hey man, I told you, and they have other people thinking it too. Like, hey man, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? I don't get down like that, man. When the one that does that type of shit is the one that's accusing you. I mean, they both wicked, America and Russia. Primarily Edomite nation, so they're gonna be destroyed in the end. But this is a plan that the Most High has booked out. I'm going to a couple more scriptures. Let us see. It says, if thou seest this is Ecclesiastes 5 and 8. If thou seest the oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment and justice in the province, marvel not at the matter. For he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they. All right, so like technical difficulties. Once again, Ecclesiastes 5 and 8. If thou seest the oppression of the poor, and violent perverting of judgment and justice in the province, marvel not at the matter. But he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they. Right. So the Most High sees what's really taking place. We had an all-time high in oppression of the poor, starting with those of the nation of Israel, so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, and violent perverting of judgment and justice in the province. The whole province in the U.S. has been guilty of that. You see these continuous shootings of these so-called black men in the street, and so-called Latinos and Native Americans. It's been at an all-time high, right? And it's all in preparation for war. Marvel not at the matter, but he that is higher than the highest regarded, and there be higher than they. So the Most High sees and comprehends what's going on. All right. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. Yeah, that shit on there. This is Ecclesiastes 9. Let's see, Ecclesiastes 9 and 16. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. So, the minute the Lord is telling you continuously, like it's 4:23 over here. So, as soon as I get done, I'm putting this out. But, you know, the poor man's wisdom is despised. So, since we're not on some high scale or some renowned theological school as being unlearned men, as the apostles were, and disciples before the apostles and the disciples were unlearned men. So they marveled at that even in Acts, how, Peter and these unlearned apostles were able to teach as fluently as the way they did, especially with Yahushua being the main example as well. They was astounded at that. And that's the same today, because we unlearned men, yet our wisdom is despised. That's Ecclesiastes 9 and 17. The words of wise men are heard in quiet more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. Right. And we hear this because it's only a concentrated source that really hear us, You got some people that scoff, many people that scoff or click on us for entertainment if they even do, But all in all, it's a small council that's really listening to this. So it's more so that we are heard and quiet than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. And you look on the TV, you can't turn on the TV or the radio without hearing about Trump, which is a fool. And all these other wicked ass politicians that are in his cabinet, Who was that? I forgot the guy that came down there and saw that Mathis, General Mathis or Mad Dog Kelly, met up with the dude and he said, I just had to meet you myself. He said, what did he say? I heard they call you the devil incarnate. And I had to meet you for myself, because the people that's in that cabinet right now are strategically picked. It's the war council that they have. That's all. They're preparing for battle. It says wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyeth much good. Right. And all it takes is one wicked ass devil to destroy a whole lot of shit, let alone the whole council of them. That's why these times that we coming into are like no other. Let's see. And there was another article going along with that. Let's see. It says 14 EU states announces mass coordinated expulsion of Russian diplomats over a scriptural case. Right? 14 members of the EU have decided to expel Russian diplomats over the Sergei Skripal case. The European Council President Donald Tusk has confirmed. It comes despite zero evidence proving that Moscow was responsible. Donald Tusk stated that further action could be taken. Right, because all they're doing is following after this war council. They really are following after the elites. Alright. But for the average Joe Six-Pack, that mean they preparing for war. That's all this is. There will be wars and rumors of wars in these times. And, whether you want to believe it or not, contrary to popular demand, it's going down. France and Poland have expelled, Germany, France, and Poland have expelled 4 diplomats each. Respective foreign ministers confirmed on Monday. The Netherlands and Denmark will expel 2 diplomats each, their foreign ministry said. Italy is expelling 2 Russian diplomats, with Lithuania has expelled 3, according to that country's foreign ministry, and the Czech Republic will expel the same number. Meanwhile, Latvia is expelling 1 diplomat and Aeroflot employee, and Estonia's foreign minister has confirmed the country is expelling a military attaché at the Russian embassy. Finland is expelling 1 diplomat. Ukraine has also jumped on board and announced it is expelling as many as 13 diplomats. Damn. Meanwhile, outside of the EU, Donald Trump has ordered the expulsion of 60 Russian diplomats from the United States, as well as the closure of the Russian consulate in Seattle. These are all steps towards warfare. When you break peace ties off and expel diplomats from your country, you're basically saying, we're done talking, because those people are set in place to withhold certain regulations and agreements that these 2 nations are coming in agreement with. And once you remove them, you can't uphold that agreement. You can't see that it's upheld. Therefore, you're cutting all ties. To make it simple. So as Western countries have been pointing the finger at Russia over the poisoning of Skripal, a former double agent, and his daughter Yulia in Salisbury, UK, on March 4th. British Foreign Minister Boris Johnson went so far as to suggest the attack was ordered by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Says Russia has denied playing in role in the poisoning and has offered its full cooperation in the investigation. Moscow's request for samples of the toxic agent used on Skripal and his daughter has been declined by Britain. Of course it has. Because once they go in and bust it wide open and prove that they didn't do it, they'll fuck around and probably prove who did do it by doing an investigation, and their whole device that they spend millions of dollars, I'm sure, devising will be flushed down the toilet. So, of course, they'll be like, nah, man, fuck that. We're not going to let these guys come check our shit out. We're going to fuck our shit up. Esau, man. Revelation 20:7, when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. That was during the Renaissance period. Esau came into power, and ever since then he's been in power. 8th verse, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle. That's Russia, the number of whom is in the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the earth of the camp of the saints about the beloved city, and fire came down from Yahweh out of heaven and devoured them. Right, because this is all going into the events that's going to go to the next level, so to speak. There's going to be a whole lot of destruction that come down in this last world's war. Okay. All right. Let us see. Dragging that old serpent. Oof. So like you'll bear with me for just a minute. Let's see. So this is what we'll do. After that, Revelation pulled up already. Excuse me. All right. Let's see. Alright, so this is Revelation 7:7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and the beast that carrieth her, with which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. Right, and going into the breakdown of the 7 heads and the 10 horns, I'd like to go to the visual imaging, if you would. Let's see. Alright, and as you can see, the beast with the 7 heads and the 10 horns is NATO. Right, the same nations, the same European nations, headed by the United States. And I just read off the ones that are amongst NATO that just put they just put all those Russian officials out because this is in preparation for the final battle. All right, so imagine America's at the head of it. Germany a major. The Romans, all right, which we said Spain, Rome, the French. Let's see. Spanish, Spain, Germania, Minor, the British, which is the ones that started the whole allegation, and the Greeks, man. All of them are in the same accord at this point in time, with America on top. You know, all of them are in the same accord right now, you know, towards getting this thing started. Why? They all headed by the elite bankers. And so they all in the same accord at this point in time. You know, this is something that this is like the elite bankers' master plan, you know, a master scheme of all time. And they think that they're going to be in good condition, even though they didn't know what's going to take place. They're going to still move forward with it because, you know, these devils think they know they don't have a chance, but they still execute as if they do. Because, I mean, shit, that's what they call giving it the old college try. It's Ecclesiastes 3:8. There's a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Right now, we are coming into the time, or we are in a time of war. You know, it's a lot of things transpiring that we don't know about over there. You know, he's already got troops on the ground. Trump's coming out saying that he's going to have 2,000 troops, special forces troops that was training the Yemenis rebels to come back. But, you know, that's just all sweet words and buttered words. Yeah, smooth as oil words and shit, because he's not planning on doing that. Obama said the same dumb shit like the rest of these politicians. Jeremiah 50:29 says, Call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. Camp against it round about, let none therefore escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she has done. Do unto her, for she has been proud against Yahweh Shem Yahushai, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith Yahweh Shem Yahushai. From the pride of this nation, from the foundation of it, the very founding fathers, you know, they've been proud. Take our people into captivity and put them in the chateau slavery, cattle slavery. You know, that's some bullshit. You got to pay for it. Your men of war, all of them. So it's not a good time. Yeah, I was in the military before. All right, the Most High blessed me to get out because I saw it was a bunch of bullshit, and he took me out, man. You know, so all of y'all to get this wild hair up your ass to think that it's a good idea to go to the military. When this shit pop off and you still in there, 9 times out of 10, you'll be destroyed, man. All right. I should have started at 11. I know, 50 and let's go. Jeremiah 50 and 9. For lo, I will raise up and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Now, one of the things that'll be pushed is that's talking about ancient Babylon. And ancient Babylon wasn't taken in that way. They weren't taken by force with a great battle that pursued many arrows, But these arrows are talking about nukes. I'm not talking about a regular mass arrows, okay? It says, and the Chaldees shall be a spoil, and that spoil her, all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. And the new Chaldees is America. Because you are glad, because you rejoice, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Right. Because you started with the nation of Edom and the rest of the nations, you took us into captivity. Y'all all had something to do with taking us into captivity. Alright, and you all benefited from that. And it says, because you are grown fat as a heifer at grass. Right, and the fatness of the earth, who received that first? It was the nation of Edom. Esau received that first. The progenitor of the nation of Edom. Esau is Edom. Okay? Says, your mother shall be sore confused. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Right, because this shit is going to be destroyed. There's going to be a lot of places. The whole world is not going to be destroyed. There's going to be certain nations that are going to get hit by these nukes and be fucked up, man. All right? But in captivity, we're going to make these devils put all of this back together. And that's scripture. Continue on. 13th verse. Because of the wrath of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues. It says, put yourself right, because when it's destroyed, everyone that sees it and puts it in the remembrance is gonna be like a bad taste in their mouth. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her and spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Says, shot against her round about. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Take vengeance upon her as she has done, do unto her. All right, going all the way back to it. It's at Revelation the 18th chapter. Repay unto her double. It says, shot against her round about. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. And when that destruction comes, it's not going to be nothing left for this place. Okay? They say it's not even going to be a foundation stone to pick up. Alright. Yeah, we can read that. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest, or fear of the oppressing sword. They shall turn away one to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. All right, because a lot of these other nations, they're going back to their own country because they see everybody's choosing their side. Okay, when they can feel this great swelling coming up, they can feel the tension and the spirit and the bloodlust that's in the air for this battle to come. So it's only right that they flee to their own land, because they don't want nothing to do with that shit. And all these elites and all these high business moguls, they don't live in America. They got the fuck out of here. They abandoned this place, rape it for its resources, and leave it hanging. It's all part of the elite's plan. Let's see. This is Psalms 140, and we can start at 1. Deliver me, O Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man. Who is the evil and violent man? The nation of Edom, man. They're the most evilest, vile, wicked man on the planet. Starting with the tribe of Amalek, man. So-called Jewish. Which imagine mischief in their heart continually while they gather together for war. Right, they can always, this going into the Third World War. Because they're continually gathered together for war. I think they did the statistics, and I forgot how many years this country, since it was established, has had peace. I think like 9 years, 10 years, or something to that extent. I'm not sure. I know by next time, and I'll bring that out. But, that's a joke, That's a joke. Because the war is continually in these devils' hearts, man. And they have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. As poison is under their lips, or the lack of lips, because these devils don't be having no fucking lips. Or they're getting Botox and shit. But it says, and they always compare them to a serpent, man. The one that possesses poison, because there's nothing good about anything that comes out of their mouth. Keep me, O Yahweh, Shemiyah, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have proposed to overthrow my goings. Right, and pursuing the revelation when they was released for that little season, the first one they came after was the woman, which is Israel. Alright? And they persecute us all the way into these times now, where they want to take it up a notch and do away with the majority of us, and in their mind, keep the rest of us around for slavery, slave purposes. But outside of that, they really have it set in their mind to kick this thing up a notch. But the Most High is going to stop them in their tracks because He set a bound that they cannot pass, as it says in Job. The proud have hid a snare for me. The course they have spread a net by the wayside, and they have set gins for me, Salah. Right. And that's just going into these devils setting all these traps. They have a lot of traps set for the so-called Black, Native American, Latino, man. And you'll find out in these times to come. And you really start seeing these devils in action. Alright. This is Ezekiel 38:3. And say, thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, behold, I'm against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Right, because this is going into Russia. Alright, that's their scriptural name from the Bible. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, and all them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Right, so this is a company of nations coming together underneath Russia, Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields in him. Gomer and his band, that's Germany, if I'm not mistaken, the house of Togarma of the North Quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia's a guard unto those other nations. And America knows that. That's why they already have their sides decided. Why you think you have all these different splits, like the UK splitting from the EU? That's going to cause later problems, because it's going to actually cause them to actually turn on what they call America, the new axis of evil. America who is it? America, UK, and Israel. They call them the new axis of evil. And they're going to, I mean, these other nations are going to get tired of that as well. Even the ones that, they're confederate with at this time is going to shoot missiles on them. All right. Now, end it off right here. After many days, thou shalt be visited. And the latter years, thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. Since 70 AD, Israel has always been waste. Even in our captivities, our different captivities, it was wasted when we built it back up, but it hasn't been built up again since it was last torn down. But it is brought forth out of nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. It said, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. They shall be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. So that's unison all of those nations. With, most likely the BRICS nations, with some of the EU nations. Thus saith Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into my mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Like, hey, let's fuck it. Press these buttons. Let's get this bitch started. Click, click, And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, which is America, right? I will also go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, right? Because we don't really have any separators between the borders because all the states are supposedly united in the United States. All right, so you don't have any, the only wall you hear of is the wall that Trump is building. Pretty much in the wide open country. All right. It says, to take spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. Right, because all these other nations that benefited off of this place. And the Most High is going to come in, he's going to have that stuff taken back. All right. All right, man. So I'm going to read on that. So, this is the time that we in. Okay. So, right now, that's the next lesson. This is the dumbest time in our history. To be honest with you. This is the dumbest time in our history. Just because this time is technologically advanced doesn't mean that they're mentally superior to those of the past. So, with that, it's like to end this off, and I tell the brothers, just prepare yourselves, as we often say, spiritually, physically, and mentally, for the times that are coming in hand, and just have faith in y'all by Shem Yahushai, because we almost out of here. But before we go, it's a lot of shit we got to go through. This Mark of the Beast is coming, and after that, this world's war, and, the return of Yahushai, so hopefully we endure to the end, and hopefully we part of the elect, whether you fall or whether you live until the end, whether you fall and are risen up first or live until the end, however Yahweh Shem Yahushai has it said, just continue to pray, do these works, and stay motivated. Until then, I'd like to give all the praises, high honors to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Yahweh Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Makar Kodash, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, all the brothers out there doing works, with truth and sincerity, and Yahweh Shalom.